Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Caribbean court victory adds joy to Pride Fête happening on August 9th. In a landmark ruling just days ahead of the August 9th PrideFête celebration in Wilton Manors, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court has struck down St. Lucia's colonial-era laws criminalizing same-sex intimacy. The court declared that laws prohibiting so-called gross indecency and buggery are unconstitutional, ending decades of legal threats against LGBTQ+ people in the island nation. While the St. Lucian government had stopped enforcing these laws, activists say their very existence was harmful. The suit was filed in 2019 by the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, which has also helped overturn similar laws in Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Dominica. Only Grenada and retains its law among those originally challenged. Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago's decriminalization was reversed earlier this year on appeal, and countries like Jamaica, Guyana, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines continue to criminalize same-sex relations. Kenita Placide, the executive director of the alliance, called the ruling more than a legal win. Quote, "Today's ruling is not just a win in the courts, it also represents a step towards justice for the many lives lost to violence simply for being themselves. It signals that our Caribbean can and must be a place where all people are free and equal under the law," end quote. This human rights victory resonates powerfully with the queer community across the world, especially across South Florida as the Caribbean LGBTQ community gets ready to celebrate Pride Fête. It is South Florida's only Caribbean queer festival. From St. Lucia to Wilton Manors, the message is clear. Pride is resistance and change is possible. You can celebrate St. Lucia's big social justice win and the entire diversity of the South Florida's LGBTQ Caribbean community by attending Hotspots Happening Out's Pride Fête this Saturday in Wilton Manors. You can get complete details at pridefete.lgbt. Well, the story around St. Lucia, I think, is interesting, again, across, for any of us who have traveled to the Caribbean. I went to St. Lucia, I think, like 5 years ago with my partner and my son. We actually won a 7-night stay in St. Lucia at an LGBTQ fundraiser. So we could just put that there. And when I won it, I kind of didn't really pay attention to what Caribbean place we were going to. I just thought, it's at a LGBTQ event. So, and then I looked it up and I was like, ooh, I'm not really so sure that I want to go to St. Lucia. But, and we were at an all-inclusive resort and I was with, a family resort. So, I didn't feel overwhelmingly welcome at the time, not that we had anyone that had done anything outwardly, but again, having these laws overturned or having the laws in place just gives people that right to kind of treat our community in a certain way. So I'm happy to see this. I know, a South Florida friend, Benjamin DaCosta, is actually living in St. Lucia. He's worked in the LGBTQ community for many years. He's working for Windjammer Resorts in St. Lucia. I saw that he posted today about the story. Windjammer was, if you're a Housewives of Beverly Hills fan, they just filmed maybe Atlanta. They filmed at Windjammer Resort this year, and he's been doing a lot of publicizing about St. Lucia becoming more LGBTQ friendly. So I think that should be a good sign for them. And again, beautiful island. A lot of the people that I met, beautiful people. So this is a good move forward.
Yeah, and just keep up the good work because we're overturning those one island at a time, one island nation at a time. The colonial era stuff has needed to go for a long time now. The colonies are no longer.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think they also see the power of the gay community in terms of revenue. Certainly if you're on a cruise ship, you want to be welcomed. I remember many years ago, we were kind of given a heads up. Well, just be a little more conservative when you get off at that port out of the 7 or 8 that we were on. And we really had no problems. The people were lovely, like you said.
Sure.
But, it's just good to get that heads up. But it really should be that you can get off anywhere and not have to have a disclosure like that.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the big story here in Wilton Manors to celebrate Pride Fête this weekend. It's an amazing event. I've gone a couple of past years. I think in the first year that they went, there's a lot of great programming, food is amazing, music is amazing. There's a costume contest where you can win $1,000. There's a VIP section that will give you access to air conditioning, and if you've been outside any days in the last 2 weeks here in South Florida, you will definitely want air conditioning. It is hotter than the Caribbean here in South Florida. So check out that, $55 if you buy them in advance to get VIP and some free drinks. And it's a great event. Come support the LGBTQ community here in South Florida. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.